What if the quiet stranger sleeping under your roof, the one who pays rent on time and never complains, was hiding a secret so massive it could erase every struggle you've ever known? And what if the only reason you'll never see it coming is because you're too busy being kind? Stay with me until the very last word, because this isn't just a story about money or secrets. It's about the kind of love that money can never buy, and the moment a single dad discovers that the girl he rented a room to isn't who she claimed to be at all. The rain hammered the tin roof of the little two-bedroom house on the edge of town like it was trying to break in. Alex Thompson sat at the kitchen table, staring at the stack of overdue bills under the dim yellow light. 34 years old, widowed for 3, and raising 6-year-old Mia alone. The factory had cut his hours again, and the landlord had already left 2 voicemails this week. He rubbed his tired eyes and glanced at the room for rent sign he'd taped to the front window 2 days earlier. He hated the idea, strangers in his home, near his daughter, but pride didn't pay the electric bill. The knock came at 7:12 p.m. exactly. When Alex opened the door, he saw her, a slim girl no older than 20, soaked to the bone, clutching a worn backpack and an old umbrella that had clearly given up. Her dark hair stuck to her cheeks, and her eyes, deep brown and strangely calm, met his without hesitation. "I saw your sign," she said softly, voice steady despite the rain. "I'm Emma. I start classes at the community college next week. I can pay 3 months up front in cash." Alex blinked. Most college kids haggled or promised to pay later. This girl pulled an envelope from her bag and handed it over like it was nothing. He counted the bills twice, more than fair, almost generous. Something in her quiet dignity made him step aside. "Room's small," he warned. "Shared bathroom. No parties. And I have a daughter." Emma smiled, the kind of smile that didn't reach her eyes but still felt real. "I like quiet. And I love kids." Within an hour she was settled. The next morning Mia peeked around the corner while Emma made coffee, and the little girl's face lit up when Emma offered to braid her hair before school. Alex watched from the doorway, heart twisting. It had been so long since Mia had anyone gentle around her besides him. Days turned into weeks. Emma was a ghost in the best way, always home before dark, studying at the kitchen table with headphones on, helping with dishes without being asked. She never talked about her family, never mentioned friends, and when Alex gently asked where she was from, she simply said, "Somewhere far away." I needed a fresh start. He respected that. He had his own ghosts. But money was still tight. One night the power flickered off after a storm, and Mia cried in the dark because she couldn't see her nightlight. Alex sat on the floor with her, telling stories until his voice gave out. The next morning he found an envelope slipped under his bedroom door, extra cash, no note. When he tried to return it, Emma just shook her head. "Consider it rent increase," she said quietly. "Your kindness is worth more than that." He didn't argue. Pride had limits when your child was scared of the dark. Slowly, the house began to feel warmer. Emma taught Mia how to draw flowers that actually looked like flowers. She listened when Alex came home exhausted and vented about the factory layoffs. One evening she cooked dinner, simple pasta, but it tasted like home, and for the first time in years Alex laughed until his sides hurt. Mia fell asleep on Emma's lap while they watched cartoons, and Alex caught himself staring at the two of them, something soft and dangerous blooming in his chest. He told himself it was nothing. She was a tenant. A kid, really. But late at night he'd lie awake wondering why someone so gentle, so capable, had no one else in the world. Then the first crack appeared. Mia got sick, high fever, coughing through the night. Alex missed work, the doctor bill hit like a truck, and the factory threatened to let him go if he missed another shift. He sat on the porch at 2 a.m., head in his hands, wondering how much longer he could keep them afloat. Emma found him there. She didn't offer money this time. Instead she sat beside him in silence until he spoke. I'm failing her, he whispered. Every single day I'm one step away from losing everything. Emma's hand rested lightly on his shoulder, warm, steady. You're not failing. You're fighting. And sometimes, help comes from the places you least expect. He didn't know she was crying until a tear fell on his sleeve. The turning point came on a crisp spring morning, when life threw Mark a curveball he never saw coming. He'd been feeling off for weeks, persistent fatigue, sharp pains in his chest, but he chalked it up to stress and overwork. During a routine checkup, the doctor delivered the blow, a heart condition, likely exacerbated by years of grief and strain. Surgery was needed, but the costs were astronomical, even with insurance. Mark sat in his truck outside the clinic, staring at the steering wheel, his mind racing. How would he tell Alex? The house payments were already behind, this could mean losing everything. That night, he confided in Sophia over a subdued dinner, his voice cracking as he explained the situation. I don't know what to do, he admitted, burying his face in his hands. Alex, sensing the tension, clung to Sophia's side, his small face etched with worry. Sophia felt her world tilt. In the days that followed, she watched Mark deteriorate, not just physically, but emotionally. He withdrew, snapping at small things, haunted by the fear of leaving Alex orphaned. She helped where she could, driving him to appointments, entertaining Alex with games and stories, but the guilt gnawed at her. Her family's wealth could erase these problems in an instant, yet revealing it risked shattering the genuine connection they'd formed. One sleepless night, as Mark lay in the hospital recovering from an initial procedure, Sophia made a decision. She contacted her father's assistant anonymously, arranging for the mortgage to be paid off, medical bills covered, and a trust fund set up for Alex's education. The transactions were discreet, routed through charities to avoid suspicion. When Mark received the news, a generous donor had stepped in, he was stunned, tears streaming down his face as he hugged Alex. It's a miracle, he whispered. But miracles have a way of unraveling secrets. Weeks later, as Mark regained his strength, Sophia knew she couldn't hide any longer. One evening, with Alex tucked in bed, she sat Mark down in the living room. There's something I need to tell you, she began, her voice trembling. She revealed everything, her father's identity, the billionaire life she'd fled, the loneliness that drove her to seek a real family. I didn't tell you because I wanted to be seen for me, not my money. But watching you struggle, I couldn't stand by. Mark listened in silence, his expression shifting from shock to understanding. Why us? He finally asked. Sophia's eyes welled up. Because you treated me like family from day one. No expectations, just kindness. That's rarer than any fortune. The revelation brought challenges of its own. Mark grappled with pride, feeling indebted, while Sophia faced her father's disapproval for slumming it. Elias Reed arrived unannounced one day, a stern man in a tailored suit, demanding she return to her proper life. But in a heated confrontation, Sophia stood her ground, with Mark by her side. This is my family now, she declared. Elias, seeing the bond, softened for the first time, admitting his own regrets over neglecting her. He offered not just financial support, but a tentative bridge to reconciliation. Mark, in turn, forgave the deception, realizing that true help comes from the heart, not obligation. As summer bloomed, their lives transformed. Mark's health improved, allowing him to return to work with renewed vigor. Alex thrived, his drawings now including a Grandpa Elias figure. Sophia continued her studies but stayed in the house, her presence a constant reminder of serendipity. They faced smaller hurdles, navigating blended family dynamics, balancing old habits with new opportunities, but each resolution strengthened them. Mark started a small community workshop, teaching mechanics to underprivileged kids, inspired by Sophia's generosity. She, in turn, began writing a book about their story, channeling her emotions into words that healed her past wounds. In the end, What began as a simple room rental blossomed into a tapestry of love and redemption. Mark, Sophia, and Alex weren't bound by blood or wealth, but by the quiet acts of compassion that had drawn them together. The inspiring message echoed through their days: in a world obsessed with status and gain, the greatest transformations come from treating others with genuine kindness, without knowing what they might give in return. It's in these unassuming moments that we find our true worth, building families not from circumstance, but from the heart. And sometimes, opening your door to a stranger is the first step toward opening your life to miracles.